Welcome back to another of Hannah's modern-day parables, inspired by the parable of the net. Matthew chapter 13 verses 47 to 50. This is called the waiting room selection. The waiting room was already full by the time Sarah arrived. The advertisement had spread quickly throughout the town. No experience necessary. Full training provided. Excellent career prospects. Those few words had given hope to hundreds. With unemployment rising, people weren't searching for the perfect job anymore. They were searching for an opportunity. Young people sat nervously clutching folders. Parents returning to work quietly rehearsed answers in their minds. Older applicants straightened their jackets, hoping someone would finally give them another chance. The receptionist greeted each person with the same warm smile. "Good morning, welcome. Please sign in and take a seat." No one noticed anything unusual. To them, this was simply a waiting room. An elderly black gentleman sat quietly near the reception desk, struggling to complete his application form. His hands trembled slightly as he searched for his glasses. A young woman noticed him, looked for a moment, then quietly turned away. "I haven't got time to help anyone today," she muttered beneath her breath. Before anyone else reacted, another candidate walked over. "Would you like a hand, sir?" The gentleman smiled. "I'd appreciate that very much." She patiently read each question aloud while he completed the form. "Thank you," he said warmly. "You've been very kind." She smiled. "I hope someone would do the same for my granddad." The waiting room gradually became quieter. Some people stared at the interview room door every time it opened. Others silently compared qualifications. Near the refreshments table, Emily reached for a cup of water just as another candidate stood up. Their arms brushed. The cup slipped from Emily's hand. Water splashed across the floor onto a leather portfolio resting on the floor. Beside the chair, Emily gasped, "Oh no, I'm so sorry." The woman immediately grabbed the folder. "My portfolio." Emily reached for it. "I honestly didn't need to." The woman looked directly at her. "Likely story. I saw you looking at my portfolio earlier." Emily frowned. "What? You looked at my qualifications? You knew I was a stronger candidate." Emily shook her head. "I wasn't looking at your qualifications. I promise." The woman folded her arms. "Really? Bet you think ruining my documents might improve your chances?" The waiting room fell silent. Emily's face became flushed. "I would never do something like that." Before either woman could say another word, the receptionist hurried across with paper towels. "It's all right," she said gently. "Let's see what we can save." She carefully separated each page before laying them across the reception desk. "I think they'll dry perfectly." The woman sighed. "I certainly hope so." Emily looked genuinely upset. "I'm really sorry." The receptionist smiled kindly. "Accidents happen." A few minutes later, another candidate approached the reception desk. "Excuse me." "Yes?" the receptionist said. "The advert says no experience is necessary." "That's correct." "So, what exactly are the interview panel looking for?" She smiled politely. "I'm afraid I can't answer that." "Why not?" "Because every applicant deserves exactly the same information." The man frowned. "So you don't actually know?" "I'm aware of the recruitment process, but I'm not permitted to discuss it." He laughed quietly before turning to the candidate beside him. "Why would she know anything?" He shrugged dismissively. "She's only the receptionist." A few people smiled awkwardly. The receptionist simply replied, "I'm sorry, I couldn't help." As she turned back to her paperwork, another candidate spoke. "I think she answered your question perfectly." The man looked puzzled. "What do you mean?" "She's respecting the process. If she started giving some people extra information, the interviews wouldn't be fair." He shrugged. "I was only asking." "No, you were judging. You assumed her value because of where she's sitting." The waiting room became quiet. The receptionist looked up. "Thank you." The candidate smiled. "No thanks needed." It's amazing how quickly we decide someone's worth because of a job title. Across the room, the gentleman reading his newspaper briefly lowered it. He glanced towards the reception desk before quietly returning to his crossword. Most people simply assumed he was being nosy. As the morning continued, Names were called one after another. Some candidates returned smiling. Others looked disappointed. Rumors spread quickly. They're looking for confident people. No. Leaders. I heard they're looking for experience. Nobody really knew. Suddenly, conversations were interrupted by a noise behind the desk. It was the photocopier grinding loudly before an error message appeared. One applicant laughed, not exactly filling me with confidence. Another rolled his eyes. What sort of company can't even keep a photocopier working? The receptionist smiled apologetically. I'm terribly sorry. I'll call maintenance. Before she reached for the telephone, one candidate stood. That's okay. My last job had a photocopier that had exactly the same issue. He smiled. I watched one of the repair contractors fix it one day. I thought it might be useful to remember what he did. Just in case. If you don't mind, I'd be happy to have a look. The receptionist stepped aside. Please. Within moments, he removed a small piece of jammed paper, reset the rollers and closed the panel. The machine hummed back into life. There we are. It should be all right now. The receptionist smiled warmly. Thank you. That was very kind. He simply shrugged. I've always believed, if you can help someone, you should. Without waiting for praise, he quietly returned to his seat. The gentleman behind the newspaper glanced over the top once more before returning to his crossword. As the afternoon dragged on, frustration slowly filled the waiting room. This is ridiculous, one man complained. We've been waiting for hours. They obviously don't value people's time. While he spoke, the receptionist was struggling to carry several boxes. Without hesitation, one young woman stood. Can I help? You don't have to. I know. She smiled. But I'd like to. Together they carried the heavy boxes into the office. Nobody commented. Nobody noticed. Except the elderly black gentleman by the desk and the man behind the newspaper. As the day continued, true character slowly revealed itself. Some people encouraged nervous candidates before their interviews. Others secretly hoped those around them would fail. Some only spoke when it benefited them. Others quietly served wherever they could. Nobody realized the waiting room had become the real interview. Late that afternoon, every candidate was invited into the conference suite. The managing director walked onto the stage. I'd like to thank every one of you for attending today. You've all shown courage simply by applying. He paused. Many of you have spent today wondering how your interview went. Smiles spread across the room. I have some surprising news. The interview wasn't confined to the office behind that door. Confused faces looked around the room. We began assessing every one of you from the moment you walked through our doors. Silence filled the room. We watched how you treated people, how you responded to delays, how you handled disappointment, whether you encouraged or criticized, whether you served or expected to be served. Several candidates slowly lowered their heads. He smiled towards his receptionist. Some of you asked our receptionist questions about the recruitment process. Mrs. Wilson quietly stood. Gasps echoed around the room. Allow me to introduce Mrs. Wilson, our Director of People and Culture. The man who had judged her became flushed in the face as he looked down at the floor. The managing director continued. We wanted to see how you treated someone you believed couldn't influence your future. He then smiled towards the elderly gentleman. Many of you noticed Mr. Johnson struggling with his application form. The gentleman stood. The director said, he has been part of this company for over 30 years. More surprised expressions appeared. Finally, he smiled towards the gentleman who folded his newspaper. Some of you probably wondered why this gentleman seemed so interested in everything happening around him. The room laughed softly. The gentleman stood. Meet Mr. Harris, our head of recruitment. The laughter quickly turned into astonishment. You thought we were looking at qualifications. We were looking at character. He opened a folder. The people we have selected are not necessarily the most qualified. They are the people whose character consistently reflected the values of this company. With that being said, the director began. One by one, the successful names were read aloud. Some celebrated. Some quietly accepted the outcome. Others sat reflecting on their behavior in the waiting room, because they realized the greatest interview had never taken place behind the closed office door. It had taken place in the waiting room. The moral of the story is this. Jesus said in Matthew chapter 13 verses 47 to 50, "Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a net that was let down into the lake and caught all kinds of fish. When it was full, the fishermen pulled it up on the shore. Then they sat down and collected the good fish in baskets, but threw the bad away." In this modern-day parable, the waiting room gathered everyone together. At first, everyone looked the same. Only when the day was over were true characters revealed. Jesus taught that one day there will be a final separation. God sees beyond appearances, achievements, titles, and qualifications. He looks upon the heart. This parable is not about earning God's acceptance through good works. We are saved by God's grace through faith in Jesus Christ. This parable, just as the original, reminds us that a heart transformed by Christ is revealed in the way we treat others, especially when we think no one is watching. Hannah's reflection: it's easy to be kind when someone can benefit us. It's easy to show respect when someone holds a position of influence. But our true character is often revealed by how we treat those we believe have nothing to offer us. You see, long before anyone else notices, God already has seen. In God's kingdom, the greatest interviews in life don't happen behind closed doors. They are happening in the waiting rooms of everyday life.